Why do I feel less than everyone else? It's a question I hear often in therapy, a quiet, persistent feeling that other people matter more, that they're somehow better, more confident, more deserving. And underneath that, a deeper belief that there's something wrong with you. Not good enough, not important, not quite measuring up. And what's important to understand is this feeling didn't just appear out of nowhere, it was learned. More specifically, it was experienced repeatedly in relationships. When we grow up in an environment where we are consistently placed in a one down position, where our voice is valued, where our needs are minimized, where we're criticized, dismissed, or subtly made to feel like we're an inconvenience, we begin to adapt. Because as children, we don't have the ability to step back and say, this says more about my parents than it does about me. We can't do that. So instead, we personalize the experience, we internalize the experience, and we form beliefs. I'm not enough, I don't matter, other people are more important than me, there must be something wrong with me. And these beliefs don't just sit in the background, they become the lens through which we see ourselves and the world. Now, in my model, this is where it becomes really important. The inner child is the part of you that felt those experiences, the confusion, the sadness, the sense of being overlooked or diminished. It doesn't think in words, it doesn't analyze, it just feels. And then we have the inner critic, the part that forms meaning out of those experiences. But the inner critic doesn't create these beliefs out of nowhere, it learns them, often from parental influence or modeling, from tone of voice, from repeated messages, both spoken and unspoken. And over time, the inner critic steps in and reinforces the very beliefs that hurt your inner child. It says, don't speak up, you'll embarrass yourself. They're better than you, who do you think you are? And it sounds convincing because it's familiar, but it's not truth, it's conditioning. And over time, you don't just feel less than others, you begin to live as if it's true. You might people please, you might avoid conflict, you might hold back in relationships, you might settle for less than you deserve. And then the outcome reinforces the belief. You stay small and reflect life back to you. So the belief becomes stronger. Now the question is, how do you begin to change this? Because this isn't about positive thinking. You can simply tell yourself enough when a deeper part of you doesn't believe it. That's where this work becomes deeper. The first step is awareness, noticing when you feel one down, noticing the situations where you shrink, compare or withdraw, because those moments aren't random. They are activations of your inner child. The feeling comes first, and then the inner critic steps in with the familiar narrative. So instead of arguing with the critic, we begin somewhere else. We turn towards the inner child. We ask, what am I feeling right now? Not what am I thinking? What am I feeling? Is it sadness? Is it rejection? Is it a sense of not being seen? Because when we connect with that feeling, we are connecting with the original wound. And this is where something important begins to shift. Because rather than abandoning that part of yourself, like it was abandoned before, you begin to stay with it. You begin to validate it. And over time, you start to develop something many clients didn't have growing up. An inner nurturing parent, a part of you that can say, it makes sense that you feel this way. You didn't deserve to be made to feel small. You do matter. Not as a forced affirmation, but as a compassionate response to a real experience. And alongside that, we begin to gently challenge the inner critic, not by fighting it, but by recognizing it, seeing it for what it is, a learned voice, a protective part that is trying to keep you safe by keeping you small. And then slowly we begin to take small steps in the opposite direction, speaking up a little more, setting small boundaries, allowing yourself to take up space, even when it feels uncomfortable. Because this work is not about a sudden transformation, it is about consistent relational repair internally. Each time you choose not to shrink, each time you validate your own experience, each time you challenge that one down position, you begin to rewrite your beliefs. And over time, something shifts. You don't feel less than anymore, you feel equal. Not better than others, not above, but no longer beneath. And that is where real confidence comes from. Not from proving yourself, but from no longer believing that you are not enough. And if this resonates with you, then this is the work we could do together, because you don't have to stay in that position that was learned. And anything that is learned can be unlearned. And if you'd like to find the confidence to be you, visit my website, book a free discovery call. Let's see what's possible.